The old shop was Mr. Gupta's life. He knew every creak of the floorboards, every dusty corner. So, when things started moving at night, he noticed. Cans of beans on the shelves, rearranged. Toys facing different directions. Must be those naughty rats, he thought, setting traps. But the traps remained untouched, and the disturbances continued. One night, Mr. Gupta decided to check the CCTV footage. He sat in his small office, the grainy black and white images flickering on the screen. He fast-forwarded through hours of nothing. Then, at 3:14 a.m., a chill ran down his spine. A display of ceramic plates shifted, one crashing to the floor. No one was in sight. He scrubbed back and forth, but the footage remained the same. An unseen force was moving things in his shop. Fear, cold and clammy, gripped Mr. Gupta. This was no ordinary mischief. This was something else, something unknown. Sleep evaded Mr. Gupta that night. The image of the falling plate replayed in his mind. He decided to watch the CCTV live the next night. He sat in his chair, eyes glued to the screen. Hours crawled by, filled only with the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of the clock. Just as his eyelids began to droop, he saw it. A figure, tall and gaunt. It stood at the end of aisle 3, shrouded in shadows. Mr. Gupta leaned closer, his heart pounding in his chest. He couldn't make out any features, only the vague outline of a man. Was he real, or a trick of the light? Mr. Gupta held his breath, afraid to even blink. The figure remained motionless, as if carved from the darkness itself. Then, slowly it began to move towards the camera, gliding silently over the floor. Closer and closer the figure came, until it was standing directly in front of the camera. Mr. Gupta could almost feel its presence, cold and menacing, radiating through the screen. For a moment, the figure remained still, its features still obscured by shadow. Then it moved, its head tilted upwards, and for the briefest of seconds, Mr. Gupta looked into its eyes. 2 points of chilling white, burning with an unnatural intensity, stared back at him. A silent scream caught in his throat. He couldn't tear his gaze away, transfixed by the sheer terror of it all. This was no ordinary man. This was something else, something evil, and it had seen him. Adrenaline surged through Mr. Gupta. He scrambled out of his chair, knocking over the empty teacup on his desk. He had to see, had to know if this was real. He grabbed his heavy iron torch, the cold metal a comfort in his trembling hand, and rushed out of his office. The shop floor was silent, lit only by the dim glow of the streetlights outside. He walked slowly, his heart pounding in his ears, each step echoing in the stillness. He reached aisle 3. The image of the figure burned into his mind. But there was nothing there. The air hung heavy and silent. Mr. Gupta shone his torch into every corner, every nook and cranny. But the shop was empty. Completely, utterly empty. He was alone. Or was he? The question hung in the air, unanswered, leaving him with a chilling certainty that some mysteries are better left unsolved.